basketball fans? It's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer to help you get ready for week 20 of the fantasy basketball season, week 21 of the NBA season, by breaking down the waiver wire for you. I have already done the weekly breakdown. If you haven't seen it, click right here or check it out after this video. I'll get through schedule and streaming and some of the things I'm looking at for this coming week to help inform, say, these waiver pickups. But we're also close enough to the end of the year where I am going to start trying to mention how many games everyone has left. Now, your league might end differently, right? Any league I commission does not go up till the very end, so you got to lop at least a week off of that. I'm going to refer to it as the full season numbers, but that may not work for you. I do have a link. It's probably down below. If not, remind me, where I have the remaining worksheet so you can kind of just like look at a glance. It's got tabs for all the different playoff configurations of anyone who's spoken up who's been watching the video all week. With that, let's get into people available in at least half of leagues. And by that, I mean, I'm lying. First up, Cam Payne, 52% rostered. He's a little too high for this list, but he's playing well. He's back for the Suns. When we heard Chris Paul was going out, I was saying, I know Cam Payne's still hurt, but I'm a little interested in him. I'd pick him up. He's back. He got 17-3 with 16 assists against the Knicks. Not that the Knicks are standout competition. He plays Milwaukee today, so that'll give us more of an input, but he's going to have a lot of time. We've been talking about Cam Johnson. I think Cam Payne's also worth picking up at 52%. It's a little too high for this normal list, but they've got a good schedule. They've got 4 games next week, only 1 on the streaming day, and he's got 18 total games remaining. So 19 is basically the tops anyone has. He's got 18 of them. He's got 4 games this week and 4 games next week, providing extra value. If you pick him up, you probably don't have to stream that spot because you could probably just use him. That said, if you're fighting for playoff position, you may still need to stream because you may just not have a choice. It may be important for you to do win and get in this week and the next week, depending on how your standings are. With that, let's get into people available in at least half of leagues. My first guy is Isaiah Roby. I talked about him last week. I had him on the watch list saying I wasn't sure yet. Man, he just had a big game against Minnesota, 21-10 with 3 steals. I'm not counting on the steals like that, although his last 3 games, 3 steals, 2 steals, 2 steals. He's getting steals a lot more than you expect from a big man. He gets just some blocks, like him averaging 1 block and 1 steal, a little over, like 1.3 steals, wouldn't shock me, which is great, but I wouldn't necessarily count on, a 3 steal game and then a 0 steal game. It would kind of average out to that. Anyway, I think he could be really useful. He gets 3-pointers, he gets everything you really kind of need. His free throws shooting is not great, but he's not shooting a ton. He's rostered in 38% of leagues. Oklahoma City only has 3 games next week, 1 of them on a good streaming day, so that's not ideal. They have 18 games left for the rest of the year, and if you pick him up, Roby has the potential to be a guy you keep for the rest of the year, not just stream. So it goes 3 games this week, 4 next, 3, 4. It kind of alternates like that. Next guy on my list I want to talk about, I'm not sure. He's not necessarily my number 2, like, hey, you got to pick him up. But DeMarcus Cousins had a huge game for the Nuggets, and it was fun to see him. 31-9, 4 assists, 3 steals, a block, 3 3-pointers, 71% of the floor. It was an absolutely insane game. Now it's against Houston, so take this with between a grain and a pound of salt. Also, Jokic was out for an illness, a non-COVID related illness, as far as we know. So if Jokic is back, the minutes will probably come back down. That said, Cousins got 31-9. He only played 24 minutes. If he averages 18 minutes, do I think they'll come down? Yeah, I do. But is that, like we just saw, those averages, could he get 20-6? He probably won't, but he could, and that makes it interesting to me. Today, as of recording this, he will end up playing the Pelicans on March 6th. If you want to wait until after you see that game, that's totally fine. But something to consider, Denver has a great schedule next week. They've got 4 games. 2 of them are on the streaming days. They have Golden State, Sacramento, Golden State, and Toronto. We know Golden State has already come out and said they're not sending most of their guys for that Monday game. That's one of the rescheduled COVID games. So it's possible that Denver could give a little rest to some other guys, meaning Cousins get some more minutes. This is like 3 degrees of speculation, so let's not go too hard on that. But Denver has an ideal streaming schedule for next week, and they've got 4 games for the week following. So it's possible you pick up Cousins and be happy just streaming him now. I don't know that he's a long-term ad, but he's available in 75% of leagues, and there is some upside there. I think I'm waiting, though, until I see tonight's box score before I cut someone that I really want. Next up, I've got Lonnie Walker. He just had a bad game. If you're saying, DC, what are you talking about? That's fair. He had 5 points. He had 1 steal. He played only 18 minutes. I don't believe this is like an injury related. He had a bad game, but his games before, 30 points, 22, 22, 23. He's been hot. He doesn't really fill out the box score for you. So I like him a little more in a points league where, you get 4 3-pointers and 22 points. He's not missing a ton of shots. Like that really helps there in a points league, but you're not going to be able to count on steals and blocks and stuff in a categories league. He's 36% rostered. I think he's going to bounce back from this. It's just one bad game. Maybe it was the end of a hot streak and he's coming back to reality. But the other nice thing is he plays for the Spurs and they have basically 4 games here on out. They've got 4 games this coming week, one of them on the streaming day. Then they've got 4 games next week. The next week is a 2-game week. And that might be in your playoffs, or it's almost certainly in your playoffs. It might be the start of your playoffs unless you have a bye week. So that could be an issue. But he has 4 games all the rest of the year. So if you pick him up and he starts performing well and you get to just hang on to him in a points league and you don't have to cut him and stream him, I think there's some value there and you're going to get a lot of games out of him for the rest. He's got basically the max. He's got 18 games. The max anyone has is 19 games. I'm not including today, Sunday. I'm talking as of Monday because we're talking about 4 week 20. I think he's worth a look. He's only 36% rostered. So again, all these guys are widely available. I consider picking up Jalen Smith from Indiana, 38% rostered. He seemed like he was just kind of a throw-in in one of the Indiana deals that they did at the trade deadline, but he's playing well for them. I think they're probably hoping to bring him back here. He's got 12 and 11. The game before that, he had 15-15. Before that, he had 14-8. It's a real points and rebounds thing. Maybe you get a block, but not really counting on that. He's 38% rostered, so you can get him in over 60% of leagues. Indiana only has 3 games this week, and only one of them is on the streaming day. So if that tempers your expectations, that's totally fine. In fact, they've got 3 games for the next few weeks running. Indiana only has 16 games remaining, so it's less than some of the guys I'm talking about. Honestly, before I go for Jalen Smith, I would look at Isaiah Jackson. We've talked about him in prior weeks, so he's not on this list, but he's only 47% rostered. He's going to get you, similar points, maybe a little less rebounds, but he's going to bring the blocks as well, at least based on what we're seeing right now. They're both getting runtime. They're not really competing for anything. Indiana's giving all these guys some tick. So I would look at Isaiah Jackson first. Just didn't want to hammer it because I've talked about him so much in prior weeks, but I want to bring Jalen Smith to your attention. Less games than some of the others, so maybe it's not for you. Similarly, if you're looking just for a streamer, Drew Eubanks, he's starting now for Portland. He's only 9% rostered. So in 91% of leagues, you can get a guy who seems to consistently be getting 13 points and 8 to 10 rebounds. I mean that literally. You look at the 13 and 8, 13 and 8, 13 and 10. It's right in that window. It's just points and rebounds. This is just a streamer. This is not pick him up and use him all the time. Portland only has 3 games this week. But if you're looking for just streaming someone for rebounds, you could either use him early in the week. He's got Monday, Wednesday games, although those aren't good streaming days. Or you could just target him for Saturday on a low volume day. You just need to plug in for rebounds, pick him up. Probably be happy, get you 8 to 10 rebounds, not hurt you in any percentages, and then you cut him and move on. This isn't going to be a full-time move unless I'm wrong. Despite the minutes being there, and I think they're going to continue to be there the rest of the season, I'm not expecting a huge uptick in value. I think he might be close to his fantasy ceiling. He was traded from the Spurs to the Raptors. The Raptors had to cut him. He got picked up by Portland. That's not that can't be the path of someone who's a breakout star for us for fantasy, but I don't expect him to have a big fantasy impact here in the playoffs. I think he's truly a spot start for rebounds. But in 91% of leagues, having a guy you can count on when you need to at the end of the week to get some rebounds, that is valuable, and I wanted to talk about him. It's also worth noting, if I'm wrong, Portland only has 3 games this week, but they've got 4 games throughout. They've got 19 games the rest of the year. So if you get past this 3-game week, they've got 4 all the way through. You could just keep them, keep plugging away. I think it'd still be more effective to stream, but there is some hidden upside there. Another team like that is the Wizards. They've got only 3 games this week, only 1 on the streaming day, and KCP falls right in this list. Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Nice that on Yahoo you get to play him at point guard, shooting guard, and small forward, so it gives you a little extra flexibility. And after you get past these 3 games, 4 games all the way out. 19 games left this season. He's 43% rostered. He's playing well. I prefer it in a points league, but he's not going to hurt you in anything. Last game he had 28, 5, and 5. That makes you really happy. I think that's a little high. But he got 15, 3, and 3 before that. 13 and 3 before that. 24, but only 1 and 4. He'll get you some steals. He's not really going to get you blocks. This isn't what this is. It's 3-pointers and points. And all right amount of rebounds if you're playing him at point guard. You'd be a little disappointed if you're sliding him into small forward, if that makes any sense. But I don't think he's going to hurt you. His percentages aren't killer. Sometimes it gets down to 40% or something like that. But he's not shooting such a high volume that it's really going to impact you. So I think that's got some upside, and just that he's going to have so many games from here on out. I would give him a look. If you don't want to scoop him up now, that's fine. He doesn't play Monday or Tuesday, so you could think about it for later in the week. He gets Clippers, Lakers, Portland, 3 games and 4 nights in the center of this week. You could pick him up and play him there. Drop them, grab someone else with a Sunday and Monday back-to-back to kind of roll into next week. That might have some value for you. And if he does keep playing well, like I said, 4 games from here on out. That's going to do it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Anyone I missed, leave a comment down below. Ask your questions. Maybe I intentionally left them off the list. Maybe I just overlooked them. Great. Hit me up. Please follow me on Twitter. Like, subscribe, all that jazz that everyone says on YouTube here. Thank you so much for watching. Go out and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.